Every person watching this video is alive because of a mistake. Not a great empire, not a famous king, not even a war, a copying error. Thousands of years ago, somewhere inside a single human body, DNA failed to copy itself correctly. And that failure changed Europe forever. Because without it, an entire population may have slowly starved, even while surrounded by food. This is the story of the genetic glitch that saved a continent, and the terrifying reason farming almost destroyed early Europeans. Around 12,000 years ago, humans made a discovery that changed civilization forever: farming. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans had survived as hunters and gatherers. They chased animals, fished rivers, ate roots, berries, nuts, organs, fat. Then suddenly, everything changed. People stopped moving. Villages appeared. Then cities. Then kingdoms. History books call this progress. But there was a problem nobody understood at the time. The human body wasn't ready for it. The first farmers in Europe were eating huge amounts of grain. Wheat. Barley. Simple crops that could feed entire populations. It sounded perfect. But nutritionally, it was a disaster. These diets lacked something critical: vitamin D. And at first, nobody realized the danger, because vitamin D deficiency doesn't kill instantly. It destroys you slowly. Bones soften, immune systems weaken, pelvises deform, children stop developing correctly, and then the deaths begin, especially in the north, because Europe had another problem: sunlight. The farther north humans migrated, the weaker the sun became, especially during winter. And sunlight is how human skin naturally produces vitamin D. For darker-skinned humans living in northern climates, this became a biological nightmare. Their bodies struggled to absorb enough sunlight, and once farming replaced nutrient-rich hunting diets, the crisis exploded. Imagine entire generations becoming weaker with every passing century. Children born with brittle bones, women dying during childbirth because their pelvises had narrowed and warped, immune systems collapsing in cold climates. Europe was facing an evolutionary trap, and most people never even knew it happened. But then, evolution cheated. Somewhere around 8,000 years ago, a random mutation appeared in human DNA. One tiny genetic typo. A mutation in a gene called SLC24A5. At first, it looked meaningless. But this mutation changed pigmentation. Skin became lighter, not overnight, not dramatically at first, but enough. Enough for the body to absorb more UV radiation from weak northern sunlight, enough to create more vitamin D, enough to survive. And suddenly, the people carrying this mutation had an invisible advantage. Their children survived more often, their bones stayed stronger, their immune systems held longer through harsh winters. In evolutionary terms, that advantage was enormous. And what happened next was brutal. The mutation spread through Europe with shocking speed, faster than almost any other known human genetic change. Within a few thousand years, it transformed the appearance of an entire continent. Not because lighter skin was better, but because farming had accidentally turned it into a survival tool. Without it, Europe may have suffered catastrophic population collapse. And here's the disturbing part. The people living through this had absolutely no idea. They didn't understand genes, or sunlight, or vitamin deficiencies. All they saw was suffering, children dying, families weakening, entire communities struggling to survive winters. Meanwhile, hidden inside their DNA, evolution was selecting winners and losers in silence. But the story gets even stranger, because Europe wasn't the only place facing this problem. Thousands of miles away, another population encountered the exact same crisis: low sunlight, nutritional stress, vitamin D shortages, and they solved it completely differently. This is where human evolution becomes almost unbelievable. In East Asia, populations also adapted to limited sunlight, but they didn't use the same genetic mutation Europeans did, not even close. Instead of relying heavily on SLC24A5, East Asian populations evolved lighter skin through entirely different genes, different pathways, different mutations, different biological mechanisms. Yet the outcome looked similar: lighter pigmentation. Scientists call this convergent evolution: two separate populations, facing the same survival problem, reaching similar solutions independently, nature repeating itself, like evolution running the same experiment twice. And this changes the way we think about race completely, because what we call racial traits are often just temporary survival adaptations, tools, responses to environment, nothing more. Skin color wasn't designed, it wasn't planned. It was survival mathematics, sunlight versus biology. And Europe became one of evolution's greatest accidental experiments. But there's another layer to this story most people never hear about. The first farmers who entered Europe weren't originally from Europe at all. They came from Anatolia, modern-day Turkey. Early agricultural migrants carrying farming technology moved slowly into the continent over generations. And genetically, they looked very different from modern Europeans. Darker skin, different features, different adaptations. Ancient DNA shocked scientists when this was discovered, because for a long time, people imagined ancient Europeans looking basically the same as modern Europeans. But they didn't, not even remotely. Some hunter-gatherer populations in Europe had dark skin and blue eyes simultaneously. Others looked completely different from anyone alive today. Human appearance was fluid, constantly changing, always adapting, and farming accelerated everything. Once agriculture created massive permanent populations, evolution itself sped up. More births, more deaths, more selection pressure. Human biology entered overdrive. Traits that improved survival spread rapidly. Traits that didn't vanished. And SLC24A5 became one of the clearest examples ever recorded. One mutation, one advantage, one continent transformed. But there's something darker hiding underneath all of this, because the mutation didn't just spread through peaceful survival. It spread through death. Evolution is not merciful. When one genetic trait improves survival even slightly, populations without it slowly disappear from the future, not through dramatic extinction events, but through mathematics. Fewer surviving children, more disease, shorter lives, generation after generation, until eventually, the descendants carrying the mutation dominate the gene pool completely, and nobody notices it happening. That's the terrifying thing about evolution. It doesn't need violence. Time does the killing for it. But the most fascinating part may be what this reveals about civilization itself. We usually think humans conquered nature through intelligence, but agriculture nearly broke human biology. The very invention that created civilization also created nutritional disasters humanity had never experienced before. Farming gave humans calories, but not necessarily health. Early farmers were often shorter than hunter-gatherers, less healthy, more disease-ridden. Their teeth worsened, their bones weakened. Civilization came with a biological cost, and Europe only escaped part of that cost because of a random mutation nobody controlled. Think about that. Modern European history, empires, languages, nations, wars, all of it may rest on one ancient copying error in DNA. Without that mutation, population growth in Northern Europe may have stalled for thousands of years. History itself could look completely different. Different kingdoms, different migrations, different world powers. Maybe no Viking expansions, maybe no large northern empires, maybe entirely different global history. All because one molecular letter changed inside a human cell. And the strangest part? That mutation still lives inside millions of people today. A living fossil, a genetic scar from a prehistoric nutritional crisis nobody remembers. Your body still carries echoes of ancient winters, ancient starvation, ancient sunlight shortages. Inside you right now are solutions invented by desperate humans thousands of years ago. But evolution never stops. That's what makes this story unsettling. The traits helping humans survive today may become useless tomorrow, or dangerous. Just like darker pigmentation became a problem under northern farming conditions, modern lifestyles are creating entirely new evolutionary pressures right now. Obesity, artificial light, sedentary living, processed food, digital addiction. Human bodies evolved for worlds that no longer exist, and once again, biology is struggling to keep up with civilization, exactly like it did thousands of years ago. Which means somewhere, right now, another tiny mutation could already be spreading silently through humanity. Another copying error, another accident, another future adaptation, completely invisible to us, just waiting for history to notice it. Because the story of humanity isn't really the story of kings or countries. It's the story of survival, of fragile bodies trying to adapt to impossible worlds. And sometimes, the difference between collapse and civilization is nothing more than a mistake buried deep inside our DNA.